Hello, this is the 11 Plus preparation course for Year 5. This can also be used for those who would like to boost their learning at this age if there are any gaps that you'd like to patch up with. This is Autumn 1 Week 2. We are starting off with English, so if you have your English books, please take them out and get ready to start writing. And if you don't have a English book, you can always write your notes on sheets of paper which you can file for later on. Today we're looking at the word prefix. So let's have a look at the word prefix on its own. What does it actually mean? I've got here three words: previous, prehistoric, and preview. Do you recognize what they all have in common? That's right, I can tell you're all thinking it. It's the word pre, P-R-E, pre, previous, which means, yep, before, when something happens before an event. Prehistoric, before history. So we use this term to demonstrate that something is very historic. So we normally associate words such as dinosaurs and creatures like that. So dinosaurs and mammoths, etc. Then we've got the word preview. Have you ever heard of the word preview? You may have heard of the word preview if we were about to watch the brand new movie of Spider-Man, perhaps, okay, and you get a chance to get a sneaky preview before the actual show. So preview, you get to watch it beforehand, okay. So these words, previous, prehistoric, preview, we all notice they've all got the words or the letters pre in common, okay. So prefix, what does prefix mean? Well, pre means before as well. And let's have a look at the second part of this word, prefix. Yes, so what does the word fix mean? Fix is when you attach something to another object. Now that is exactly what a prefix is. So a prefix is when we attach a few letters to the front, to the front of a root word, and you fix it to the front of a root word. Let's have a look at some examples. Now remember, you can write down these notes. So if you like, press pause, get out your fantastic stationery. If you've got your highlighters, your coloring pencils, your felt tips, you name it, write down these notes, because the way you present and have your work out nice and clear, in your head, it will be organized just the same way. So when you're revising, when things come up again in the future, you're going to remember your notes. So it's really important that we get the presentation right so that we can think clearly about what we're doing. All right, so anytime during this video, press pause and jot down your notes. So a new title, prefixes. If you underline these titles and subtitles, and what are prefixes, and today we're going to be looking at some examples. So a prefix is a string of letters which is placed before a root word. Adding it to the beginning of one word changes it to another word. For example, when the prefix un is added to the word happy, it creates the word unhappy. The reason why the word happy is a root word is because from this one word we can create many other words. Happy, unhappy, happily, happiness. So this is what we call a root word, a word that can form other words. Let's have a look at some other words with the prefix un. Are you ready? Unknown, unfriendly, unkind, uncaring, unwrap, unfortunate, uncool, unpredictable, untied, and undo. So here are a list of words, and if you recognize at the beginning of each of these words, we have got the prefix un. So what is a root word? I've got a picture here of a lovely plant. Now, you could draw this into your books because this would be a great picture. Now, if you notice here, we have got a lovely plant, and at the base of this plant, we have got some roots. So this word happy is a root word because if you go up the stalk, travel all the way up the stalk, turn to the left and turn to the right and carry on going up, you'll find that this plant has now been able to create other words. And that's why the word happy is a root word, because we can create other words with this just by fixing letters at the beginning or at the end of it. So today we're looking at prefixes. We're looking at the initial letters that you can put or fix at the beginning, at the front of the root word. So draw these into your book if you can. If you've got your lovely colouring pencils or pens, you can jot them down because this is a great way to remember what a root word is. Now, different prefixes change the meaning of the root word in different ways. So let's have a look at a few of the prefixes. Let's have a look at their meanings and how they change a root word. So number one, the prefix re means again or back. So for example, replay, to play again. The prefix dis means not. So disagree means to not agree. The prefix pre means before. So preview, to view before anyone else. The prefix un means not or opposite. So unlock or not or no longer locked. The prefix mis means wrong, so misbehave, to behave in the wrong way. I'm sure that's none of you. The prefix under means below, so underwater, to be below the water. So press pause if you need to jot all these examples and notes down. Here we have some more prefixes that help us to change the meaning of root words in many different ways. Now you don't have to write down the title because we have that already. We are going to be looking at some more prefixes that can help us to deconstruct or decode words so we understand and learn more. We can start building a bank of these words. So let's have a look at some of the prefixes and some of the examples. The prefix trans means across or beyond. For example, transformation, the act of changing shape or form or appearance. So you may have heard of the Transformers. Transformers in disguise, they were the vehicles, weren't they? And they changed into robots. Then we've got the word de. De means opposite. So deforestation, the act of clearing an area of land of trees. And unfortunately, we still hear about this with the Amazon rainforest where they are cutting down trees for agriculture, etc. Then we have the word inter, and this prefix means between. So international means existing or occurring or carried between two countries. So international, we might have international newspapers, you might have international football games. We've also got the prefix non, which means not, non-flammable, or which means not easy to set on fire. Now let's have a look at some more. So press pause if you need to while you're writing down your notes. And here we have a few more. These are our last few. Now there are of course much or many more, but we're only looking at a selected few. So the prefix bi means two. For example, bicycle, to have two wheels. The prefix tri means three, triangle, to have three angles. The prefix un means not, unfriendly or not friendly. The prefix sub means below or under, for example, submarine. to be under the sea. The prefix anti means against. For example, antibacterial, against bacteria. And of course, we have antibacterial hand gel at the moment that we use to sanitize our hands. We are now moving on to maths. So let's take out those maths books. And remember, if you don't have your maths books, do not fear. I'm sure you can press pause and scramble for some paper so you can write your notes down and you can then file them for later on. Now, today in maths, we are looking at adding fractions, and you are going to have a blast with these. These are my favorite, one of my favorite subjects. When we add fractions, we need to follow some simple rules. So remember, jot down these rules because you will need them later should you forget. Remember, the key is to make sure that you're working out and your notes are spread nicely across your page. Make sure that your fractions are not all squished together and that those finger spaces between each of those words are nice and clear, capital letters where they need to be, miss a line if you need to spread your work out a little bit more. If you need to start a new line, go for it, start a new line, but you'll remember you need to spread these things out. When you do that, it will be nice and clear in your head, and that is the beauty about notes. If it's clear on page, it will be clear in your head. So let's begin. Looking at these rules. Number one, the denominator must be the same. So when you're adding fractions, you need to make sure those denominators now, D for denominator, D for downstairs, the number that is at the bottom. So we have got 3/5 plus 1/4. Now if you notice here, 3/5 and 1/4, the denominators are different. We've got a 5 and we have a 4. That's not going to work. We need to have both of them at the same page. They both need to be the same number. So what do we do? Well, we can do this by cross multiplying, and this is what we call X factor. So let's have a look at what happens. So 3/5 plus 1/4. We can do this by cross multiplying, and this is what happens. If you notice the blue, I have got here 5 multiplied by 1. Look at the X. And then I've got the 3 multiplied by the 4. So if you move across, you can see what happens. So 3 times 4 and 5 times 4 will give me my new fraction. And then the 1/4 transforms into the new fraction, new looking fraction, which is 1 times 5 and 4 times 5. And so we now have 2 new fractions. The value is just the same, but the numbers look different. But hey presto, we have got 2 denominators that are exactly the same, and that is exactly what we wanted. So now 3/5 has become 12/20, and 1/4 has now become 4/20. So now let's add them up. 12 plus 5 is 17, and 20 remains the same. So 3/5 plus 1/4 becomes 17/20, and we did this by doing the X factor. Now there's a lot happening on this page, so if you need to press pause and carefully write out the notes and see what is happening, because it will help you to complete any of the work in the pack. So let's have a look now at rule number 2. Now we have the same denominator, we can add numerators. Now the numerators are the numbers at the top. So downstairs are the denominators and the numbers at the top are the numerators. So let's look at this question. 12/20 plus 5/20. Now that is nice and easy. because the denominators are already the same. So these are the type of questions we all love, straight and simple. 12 plus 5 is 17 over 20. This is great. This is our final answer, as we cannot simplify 17 over 20. Now, you can try this one. 2 6 plus 7 eighths. Now, you can hide the answer, or you can press pause, try and work it out and see if you have come up with the same answer and the same working out. And here is the answer. 2 6 plus 7 eighths is, we're going to do the x factor here. So 2 times 8 and 6 times 8. Look at the denominator. The denominator on the other side is 8. So I multiply the 2 and 6 both by 8. Whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So let's now have a look at the next fraction. We are going to multiply them by 6. If you look on your left hand side, you can see the denominator is a 6. So 7 times 6 and 8 times 6. Let's transform these into new sets of fractions. So 16 over 48 and 42 over 8. And the answer is 58 over 48. And if you can reduce them, then go for it. And simplifying it will usually give you extra marks. Now let's look at subtracting fractions. Now, when we subtract fractions, we need to follow the same steps when we add. Those denominators must be the same. So here are the denominators, 5 and 4. If you look at the question, we have 3/5 minus 1/4. And you can see 5 and 4, the denominators are different. So we need to make them the same. So what do? X factor, that is correct. So now we need to multiply them by the opposite denominators. So remember, to change the denominator, that means we are transforming these fractions into new fractions. Okay, so they're going to go and change themselves to these new fractions so the denominators look the same. So we have 3 times 4 and 5 times 4, and then the other fraction we're doing 1 times 5 and 4 times 5, and we now have got 12 over 20 minus 5 over 20, and now we can carry on with our subtraction. So we can now do 12 take away 5, and that will give you the answer of 7. So the answer is 7 over 20. Remember, press pause if you need to, so you can write down your notes and make sure it's all nicely spread out. So when you're jotting down your notes, you can now move on to the next set of rules. So now we have the same denominator, we can subtract the numerator. So notice here that those denominators have now changed. So now we've got 20s at the bottom, and so those numerators 12 and 5 can be subtracted. So 12 minus 5 is 7. Now this is our final answer, as we cannot simplify 7 over 20. Now see if you can try the next one. 7 eighths minus 2 6. Look at your notes and see if you can work this one on your own. You can press pause because soon enough you'll see the answers and the working out. So here we go. We are going to do that x factor. So we've got 7 multiplied by 6, 8 multiplied by 6. Remember, what you do to the top, you do to the bottom. And now let's have a look at the second set of fractions, because we're going to change these two. Remember that transformation. So 2 multiplied by 8 and then 6 multiplied by 8, which now, if you look, we have got 2 new sets of fractions, and they are the same value of the original numbers. So 42 over 48 and 16 over 48. And now we can do the subtraction, which is our final answer, 26 over 48. And you can simplify it if you can, and if you'd like, that would be super fantastic. If you have your pack, remember you can start working through your pack now. Writing out your working out is important, so please do so. It will help you to check your answer when you have finally done them. So here we have now the verbal reasoning, VR. So if you are writing these in your verbal reasoning books, if you don't have a verbal reasoning book, you might be doing this in the back of your English books. And remember, if you don't have either, what do? Yep, you got it. You grab a sheet of paper and you start writing down your notes, and you can file them or stick them in your books later. Now, verbal reasoning, these are the type E questions. Now, these are the hidden words. For example, these type of questions, you are given a sentence in which a hidden word can be found. So put on your detective hats. This hidden word is always found between two of the words in the sentence and is nearly always 4 letters long. For example, we have got the sentence, the dog slept all day. Now we have to find the hidden word in this sentence, and it is amongst 2 words, okay, and it has 4 letters. Now I want to give you some tips here. What I've done before is I've grabbed a couple of sheets of paper, I've ripped them up so they're about the size of your fingertips, okay, and I use 2 of these sheets and I run them over the sentence, looking at the 4-letter possibilities between the 2. And let's have a look at some of the findings. So in this sentence, you need to find a hidden word of 4 letters. So it's between either the and dog. So let's see what that could possibly be. So T-H-E-D, well, that's not a word. So we've got H-E-D-O, heado. That's not a word either. Let's try the next possible word. E-D-O-G. What? Is that a word? No way. So let's see. So this is not in the and dog. So we have to go now to the next set of letters and see if it's there. So let's have a look at the word dog and slept. D-O-G-S. Is that a word? Bingo! Dogs. Yes, it is a word. So that is the answer. Let's have a look at the other ones and see if we can find anything else. So O-G-S-L. Nope. Never heard of it. Oh, well, I can't even say it. G-S-L-E. Nope. That's not a word either. E-P-T-A. Epta. Epta. Is that a word? Nope. Put-all. Nope, that's not a word. Tool. Now that's a word. So this is another possible answer. And let's have a look at the next set. So all day, it could either have been A-L-L-D. Ald. Alda. Alda. Is that a word? All day. Is that a word? No. So the 2 possible answers we would have had is dogs and tool. Now I know we went through all of them. You can either remember use your 2 fingers to go over them, and if you find that difficult, but perhaps use 2 bits of paper and they will help to slide over the words and then you'll find the answer. Give it a go. There are plenty to do in your pack if you have one. Now, you hopefully should have the pack that we have provided you with this course. When you go through the pack, remember it's really important for you to review your work. Review means you look over your work with fresh eyes, you mark it, highlight anything that is incorrect, you go over it again, and you need to keep asking yourself, why is it wrong? What have I done wrong? Once you understand what is wrong, then you are ahead of your game, okay? And you will get things right in the future. If you just leave your work and you do not review your work, you won't get any better because you're not going to know what's wrong and why it's wrong. So this part of your homework is absolutely crucial. All right. So if you've got any questions and you're still stuck, by all means, you can get in touch with us. You can send us a little message, and don't forget to subscribe and like. See you next time.